Active Geeks, you join us for some more tabletop scenics from TTcombats and a continuation of our Streets of Venice. Been a little while, not too long since we did a video, but I'm now up to date with painting everything we've already done. So now I need to do the chapel. So this is going to be next. It's kind of the last building we bought from the first lot of stuff. So after the chapel, it's just a case of putting a ton of these guys together. So I'll show you them now. This is the Plaza selection. This is the largest of this. It doesn't actually look like that. It actually looks like that because that's exactly what the church is sat on. So hopefully when it's done, it'll be that size with a bit left over at the front, like it is on the picture. So I have two of these to put together. Then I have two of the ones that are actually pictured, which is the square one. And then we have we've got the oblong ones, which are like half the size of this. I've got 2 packs of these, so technically there's 4. And then we have the small square ones, which are kind of you see the size of it there on that one, a quarter of the size, if you will. And I've got 2 packs of these, so there's like 8 of these small sections. So I didn't do any maths and measuring up, so I just got 2 of each, and then we can see how much space that fills up and if we need to get any more. So what I'll do, they all go together exactly the same, these ones. I'll unbag one of them, I don't know which. Maybe the large one with the church one, and they can sit on top of it. I'll unbag one of them on camera, but they all go together exactly the same way. They've been looking at them. They all just fit together with almost like a half a box kind of construction. So we'll stick them together. But we will start with the chapel. And
need to open it?
Yes, you can do.
Yes. Okay.
Obviously, as with all TT Combat things, instructions are online. So we're going to have to have a quick look online maybe. But difficult it is to put together. I'm just hoping all the parts are in here. That's the first thing to check now with anything, any of these that I've got after the
incident last time.
Yeah. Although they sent the stuff.
And it did get sent out very quickly.
It took time. Obviously.
It took time, but some of it didn't. Some of it came.
Some of it came quite quick, but right. Oh, the smell of wood in the morning. It smells like victory. Right, so these are the roof sections. That's the central roof, I imagine, because it's got a folded in the middle. That's one of the side sort of sections. Then we have these bits which go in the middle, I believe, and then we have. So that's what's that? 7 of 8.
Yeah, and that's 8 of.
This is 8 of 8. So that's the other part of the wood. Sorry, part of the roof. Yeah, it looks like everything there as far as grey boards.
5 of 8. Let me just see.
5 of 8. That looks like the centre of the church. I might be wrong. I hope it is.
I'm hoping that's 6 of 8.
6 of 8. Just 6 of 8.
Got
6, 7, 7, 8.
4 of 8.
4 of 8.
3 of 8.
3 of 8. That's just falling out.
Got 2 of 8.
2 of 8. And 1 of 8. So it looks like we have all the parts. If this is the first video we've watched, some of the parts on these will just fall out like that. You can see little bits from the middle part just flying everywhere now. Some will fall out. If they fall out, great, that's fine, that's ready to start with, as is the other side. If they don't fall out, you can give them a little bit of a push. Don't push them too much. If they don't come out with that any more than that, don't force it out. Take a knife and run it along the back of this. Sometimes the smaller parts like this are a bit harder to come out. But if you have a look, there are little joins in there, like on there. If you take a knife and run along, make sure you do this side, because this is the side that will tear most likely. And also if you've slipped with a knife, when you're actually doing it, and just be very careful if you're using a knife. If you slip with it, you're going to score on this side, which is the side usually where it's going to be glued on and you're not going to see it. So that's my top tip. And it's the same with the grey board, exactly the same thing. Some of these will come out a bit easier than others, like that piece of roof section that's coming out, some won't. So the first stage, like all the other videos, is to get all these parts off and then we shall return and start to build the chapel church, whichever one it is. Is it a chapel or a church? It is a chapel.
Oh, a chapel.
Start to build the chapel of Dagon. I mean, the Vatican's chapel. It's not Dagon's. Or is it? Okay, so we're back. We're taking everything off the sprues. The thing I've done is I've hinged the doors, as I do, on most of them. And I think this is a good one to do it on because there's a lot of interior detail. Chances are we are going to be playing inside this this chapel as well as outside. It takes up a lot of space, and the sides come off and everything when you're done, I think. So it'll also be quite good for actually getting inside of it. So we've hinged the doors. There we go. As I do with most of the doors. All the doors I've done so far, apart from like the front ones on the tower because they don't lead anywhere. These will definitely lead somewhere, so it only makes sense to do it. So this is the first part. Then we have the back wall with the window on there. That's going to go in here, we hope. See, this is why I always test fit it before you actually do any filming, Paul. It's a stiff fit, that one. Yeah, well, it's in the right place. It's not like they're in the wrong place. I might just need to shave them down just a little bit to get them in position. But then we have these central columns. These are both the same, are they?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so.
So there's going to go in there, and that one's
Seem
going to
to
go
be.
in there.
Yep.
And again, I'll make sure they fit in properly. And on the front, we have this front door section, and that's going to go there. And you can tell the front because it's got this step at the front with the curved edges on there. So we'll put them on. Is that step one of the guide? Right, I'll put those together. I'll glue them in place with some PVA glue, and then I will return. Okay, so that is on now. Hopefully you can see that that's the central part. That back bit was a little bit faffy. I did have to take a little bit off each side just to get it to go in. Not lots, just like a knife's worth off each side. Just like a little sliver. And it went on. So hopefully it will all still line up. We're about to find out because we need to put these parts on now. So there's two of these, one on either side. I think they're universal. I think it matters which way you put them. About to find out. So that just fits on the end there. That'll fit onto there. That'll fit onto there. And that'll fit onto the front. Right. Yeah. Now this is a big building, so I'm gonna have to zoom out a little bit. But let's just tip this on its side. Maybe you can see a bit better. But yeah, that's going to fit into there. That peg in to these two holes, and a little tab will fit into there at the back. Same on the other side. So I'm going to stick them on now, and I'll come back and I'll zoom the camera out a bit as well. Yeah, I've zoomed out a little bit so you can see the whole side of that one. So that is now fitted on. Well, these bits no problem. That is where the main strength is actually coming from because the plugs, these are just like held in place at the moment. So next thing is to move on to actually build the side sections. So we have this side section here. Is that one going on that side?
I think so. I don't know if they're universal or not.
Just come back a bit. Ah yeah, there we go.
Okay.
That's the way around this should go.
That one?
So yeah, there's a slightly longer part there as opposed to there. The longer part is the bit that's going at the front because that's lining up.
With that.
Something there in the way. But that is lining up with the front there.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll do both these side sections at the same time now, may as well. So we have
Got those bits.
these wall parts. So we're not what we're going to just say now. These aren't going to be glued on. These bits stay separate. That way you can pull this out
And get
inside, basically. Yeah. So that fits. That's going to lock into there, and that's going to lock into there when it's connected up. Same on this side. So you've got your front and your back walls, obviously pointing down and away from the church that way. I keep saying church, chapel. In the middle, Claire's waving these at me. These are like the struts in the middle. These are going to fit onto there and onto there. And they actually plug in to there as well. So Yeah, I'm already thinking the best thing to do is to actually build it like we're doing now, because you're going to have to make sure that these lock into here, even though they're not going to be glued into there. So yeah, we're going to have to build this as it is. So you can't build them in separate sections and put them together. Well, you could, but I think for making sure everything's fitting in the right place, it's best to line this up as we're going along. And now the centre part's pretty solid, we can probably get away with doing that. So we'll put these bare bones parts on that we got, and then we'll be back. Okay, you can see where we're up to. We've got the sides on. Now we want to put the outer walls on. Both these outer walls appear to be the same. I think one goes at one side, one goes at the other. I think they're universal, I don't think it matters. We'll find out as we try and put them on. But what we're going to have to do is, there's 3 pegs at the bottom, 1, 2 and 3 there, which match with 1, 2 and 3. There's pegs that are going to go in these side parts, which match up with the side supports. And then it's just a case of fitting in the 3 at either side there. So we're going to glue these in place. Now this could be a bit fiddly, but we'll see how it goes.
I'm actually thinking, can we take these?
Yeah, we'll pull them off because away from the centre part, because these should line them up. And they're still wet, and that's on purpose. So we can get these in place and then push it back in and make sure everything's lined up. So let's do that. Plus it means we can wiggle, we've got a bit of wiggle room before these dry if we do that. So we're going to do that now, and then we'll come back hopefully with the sides fixed on. If there's any issues we can tell you when we return. Okay, we've got the sides on. They went on fairly easy, just had to push the centre bits in. That was the only bit that was any sort of struggle. It was actually fairly easy this. So the next stage is to put these fascia bits on. So we have 2 large bits there. So we're going to go on there. Is that right?
Yeah. It'll be that where those pegs are at the bottom.
Yeah, where these holes are. So we've got 2 large ones there. There's also 2 at the back of the same size. Now we've got 2 smaller ones here. And again, 2 of the same size at the back. And then along the side there are 4 of these ones. And there's 4 holes for those to go in. So we're going to go ahead and stick those together. Is there anything else to put together for this stage?
Inside there's a little altar.
Alright, have you got that there?
Yes, I have.
Do you want to show everyone?
We've got
Cool.
the front, and you've got 2 sides.
Yeah.
There, and then the top of the altar.
Brilliant. So we'll stick that together as well. Is that freestanding inside?
Yes, it will
Brilliant.
be. Yeah,
Okay.
It's not got any taps on, so I think you can put it in that bit
cool.
at the back and move it round. Or...
That's alright.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay, so we'll get those bits stuck on and then we shall return. Okay, so we have the sort of fascia bits on there. I've taken it apart because the ones on here, if you glue them on, you'll end up probably gluing the whole thing together. If you want to glue the whole thing together, that's fine. I probably wouldn't recommend it unless you really weren't going to paint any of the interior, which is a bit of a waste because it's got a nice big interior like we said. There is the altar done. Easy to put together really, just it's a box. That lid. So we can leave that freestanding. It's got the Lion of Venice on it, which is pretty cool. So what we're going to do now, all that's left is to put the grey board on really. We're just going to go on last because it's probably easier to do it that way because we're going to be fiddling around because all these window sections are 2-parters. So let's tilt that against that again. So we've got that side and then we've got the opposite side, which is there. So I'm going to have to line them up. Same with the circular windows. Obviously we've got these to go around the circular windows. You have to make sure it's lined up and goes together correctly. Then we have these.
Sorry.
Then we have these parts here, which are going to go right on there. On that bit there to line those up, and then we have single versions of those, left and right. Now these are the only bits that are really marked as left and right. One goes on left, one goes on right. Claire's got the left ones, I've got the right ones. And they're going to fit onto these bits here. So, we should go ahead, put all the grey board on. once we put the windows and everything on, I'll just go ahead and I'll put the roof on as well. The roof, we have a large central roof, which is going to fit over there. Should be pretty easy to fit in place and glue on. And then we have the two side sections as well. They're exactly the same. Yeah, the sword fight them.
I know.
And they're going to fit on. And they've got these parts here. That'll be the edge, and that'll be where those fascias that we've just put on will fit into. So that'll go on last. So when we come back, we should have a finished chapel. I hope. So we'll see you guys in a second. Alright guys, so oops. These are all the grey board parts on. We've got the roof on, we've got the windows in place, and then on the main body we have the circular window, the door frame, and also we've got these accents on there. It was a bit confusing with the left and right on these ones. Because it said left and left, but it wasn't, because we did separate them out at the beginning. So it didn't really make sense, but they'll only fit on in one way anyway. So it's easy to figure out.
It is, but it is rather confusing.
Yeah, they'll only go on that way. They won't go on the other way. So that's that. And the roof, as I said, it just fits into place on the side of it. So that's still drying, which is why I don't want to fit it onto the main church, because these peg parts at the bottom are still drying. So what we'll do, we'll put that to one side while we finish off the video. To finish it off, we're going to show you the plaza section. So, as I said right at the beginning, each one of these canal, what would you call them? The canals are in the middle. These like
Walkways, sort of thing, almost, because they will be if you put a building on.
Like, because you're raising it up to get out of the swamp.
Yeah.
There we go. You're raising it up, so platform.
Platform, yeah.
Platform between the canals. Each one of these goes together exactly the same way regardless of the size, because it is simply a square or oblong piece of MDF with the tiles printed on, and then we have that bit needs to come off. There's like a little bit that needs to come off, and then we have the bits that are going to hold it up. So these are going to be the canal walls to give it some depth. Because unless you're a sharper, you're probably going to spend a lot of time not in the water. Unless you're a sharper like me, throws you in.
To eat you.
Yes. Evil laugh mode. So these are a lot like the sections we got for making the board. You know, the 1 foot by 1 foot sections. Yeah. For making just the plain city board that we were doing. Okay. So turn that over, and we obviously have on this one we have a long and a short side. And that's going to punch into there. That one should punch into there. And then we have the longer side there. So again, these tabs are just going to go in there and punch in. It might be easier to put them all together and then push them all down, which is what I'm going to try and do that. So I'm going to glue all these 4 pieces together, and then I'm going to push them down into the trying to do it as one. It'll be easier on the smaller ones. So this is the one that's a bit challenging. So I'm going to go away, glue it together, come back. Hopefully we have a completely finished plaza section. Hopefully by then the chapel's a bit drier too. So we'll see you in a second. Okay, so there we go. The chapel is finished and it's on the plaza, thus recreating dramatically the picture that's on the. There we go. So it fits on the plaza section. There's a little bit here for walking on. You probably want to add another bit on.
Yeah, it does.
And then have the bridge. It does overlap very slightly. Yeah, there's a few millimetres either side and at the back.
Yeah. To
get it there. But it looks alright actually. That's cool.
It looks cool.
And just for scale purposes, we have Priest.
Inquisitor.
And we have Cappuccino. I'm going to keep calling him now, just for fun.
You keep calling him that?
Yeah. When I drink his blood, it tastes like cappuccino. Well, not when I drink his blood, but when the shark drink.
That would just be weird.
Or when my vampires drink.
I think you've dug your hole now.
No! But there we go, so that's that. I don't know, let's... the only thing is, when you're pushing these sides back on, you can't see the internal pegs anymore, so you just got to try and line it up and push it in place. I don't want to force it too much, I'm not going to pull it apart again because it's still drying. So once it's dried, we will open it up and there's the altar. He's brought it outside, it's a sunny day.
Sunny
and he's just
days.
giving a sermon to people that are in the water. There we go. So that's the distance as well that you've got. You can see that on there for the canal there. So when you're falling in the canal, that's where you guys are going to be, and you're going to hop up. You do get steps for this. I don't really think they're necessary for the game because unless you could put like actuals in for saying you don't have to take or it's easier to get up steps, or
Yeah, if you make it to steps, you just
I don't
go
know.
up automatically or something.
I'm not sure if I'm not sure. I'm going to have to read through the rules again to see if there's actually any point in having steps from the canal going up. But the canals aren't that wide. When you put steps in, it blocks the route for like gondolas to go in and stuff. I think it's quite important to leave them open in the game so that people with gondolas can actually use them. I'm looking at Claire because she's the one with the gondolas. I think it's only fair. So we're going to go ahead now and stick the rest of these plaza sections and smaller sections together, and that will conclude everything we need to actually play Carnivale on a full table, I think. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I've got enough of these sections for a 3x3 table while also leaving enough for the canals. So what might happen is I might have got too many buildings, I might have to rotate some of the buildings. Speaking of having too many buildings, we have actually got 2 more buildings to do. So this isn't going to be the last Streets of Venice video, this is just the last one that I need to do to actually play the game. But we've got a couple of the newer buildings, the small one, the Elisabetta one, and the Magdalena one, because it's on 3 stages. And I think because it gives you a bit more transition between one level and then you've got one that's got 3 levels, but in a transition, but jumping up and down on basically. So I think they'll be good in Carnivale. And with what we've already got, we've got a lot of level 2 size sort of buildings. By level 2 I mean about 6 inches high. So, and then you've got obviously 2 levels on them. So it's hard to get up unless there's somewhere else to jump onto. What also TTcombats does is some scaffolding. So I might get a couple of scaffolding sets in the future, so that there's some of the flatter buildings, some of the older buildings that we've got now. There's places to jump up on the outside. Plus, it might look quite good to have parts of Venice which are falling back into the
falling down or being renovated.
Back into the water, because you can get the sort of half-built buildings and stuff like that as well. So we might look into that in the future. But for now, I think this is the last building we need to play. But there will be, as I said, another video with 2 of the newer buildings on. So stay tuned for that. Also, once I've got this painted up and these painted up, we will be playing Carnivale.
Yay!
Because we also have the water map.
We do.
So, yay! So we've got the dark water map for like the dark waters of
Venice.
That's my excuse anyway, for not having a lagoon coloured map. And just because I want to use it in other things like Cruel Seas and Blood and Plunder. There we go. So stay tuned for more Carnivale. Stay tuned for the other things we're doing, Blood and Plunder, Necromunda, which come from nowhere, and everything else we do. Please like and subscribe, it helps out loads, and hopefully we'll see you again soon, guys.
See you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye.